see what we got here. So I'm kind of zoomed out just so you guys can see. A lot of people are like, hey, what's going on? Where are we headed right now? So this is a yearly profile. I'm just going to hide my candles for a moment. So this is the yearly profile here that you guys see. There's a value area high. We can name this. This is your 2022 value area high. And then I'm on ES contract, right? On continuous. Here's your value area low. And there's a couple of things that I like to do when I do anchored VWAPs. So especially when you're in sell-off, one is prior year VWAP. So you can grab where we opened, open of the year, and anchor the VWAP there, right? Then you can also do swing highs or lows, major ones, right? And then you can also do quarterly VWAPs, anchored, but usually swing high and lows along with the beginning of the year are pretty good. And you'll see here, this is 24. You guys can find the VWAP here. Let me see, where is it? I've favored it. So here, right here, anchored VWAP. So if you click that, it's basically going to ask you where do you want to anchor from. So you can click here and then you see this is 2023 anchored VWAP. And the top one, what I did is I just grabbed the opening of candle of 2024. And interesting enough, you guys see where we're bouncing right now?
Wow. Yeah.
So that's your anchored VWAP for 2024. This is a big deal, right? When you think about volume weighted average, when you're far away from the VWAP, what does that tell you? Well, when you're far away. What does that tell you?
It tells me smooth
is ahead of
has
value.
a hot mic.
Go ahead, somebody. What is it?
Price is way ahead of value.
Yeah. So that means that there's a lot of eager buyers, right? And they're driving the price away from the weighted average of volume price right here. So when you come back to something that you haven't visited since August 7th, you can expect a bounce, right? So today they came right here. They bounced it nicely off of this anchored VWAP, and there was a major shelf here. So I'll show you guys. I'm going to hide this for a moment, and you guys can see this. And you see the shelf that they have here. Is it visible? So you have a high volume node here, and then you have another high volume node here. And that was that one here. And then of course, until they probably disagree on price and they crack, let's say above this level here, which ultimately comes out to be 24 value area high, they're happy probably trading in here. So if we crack 55.35, what do you think we see next?
670.
POC.
Well, if we lose 55.35 to the downside, I have no idea what happened. To the downside, if we lose that, most likely you're going to go to the 54.40 and then 53.74, which would be your Q2 value area high as well. That would be right here. And that's where you guys see why I highlighted this green area. Does everybody understand why? It would be the same reason I would highlight this one here, right? Let's see if you guys can connect the dots.
Low value node.
It's a low volume node, right? So I want to know if they're going to come in and kind of protect that, right? And then you have another one sitting, I would say like right here. And you want to see, you know, when you think about this distribution, you know, this is fairly simple, but people tend to overcomplicate it. You have a distribution here, you have a distribution here, here, and then you have one and some, let's call it crappy here, but it's still, nonetheless, it's a volume node, and then you have one below and so on, right? I didn't grab everything, but I only started here. So does that make sense? Why these green zones? Okay. So this is a high level time frame. And when you turn on the PVP, let me just turn it back on. When I turn on the PVP for the yearly, right? So, and you see where, you know, 2024 VPOC is a 52.43. So if we lose this level, there's a high chance that we're going to see this, guys. We're going to come to this level. They're going to offer a little bit of bounce right from here. So that'll be another 2.3% from here. And that will put us, right below 10%. We were right at 10% here. And then all the way to that one, you're talking about, you're talking about 15% correction right to the 2024 VPOC. And if they're to retrace all of the value, look where that puts us. Perfectly at almost 20%, right? So if you think about those corrections, the 5, 10, 15, 20s, this is a big deal, right? This level that we are on right now is a big deal. And tomorrow you have probably the most important CPI print of your 401k career, right? Tomorrow, if we have a hot CPI, there's probably a chance we have a limit down. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do, because that would flush out any late bulls, or, buyers that are trying to find value here. If they're to do this, this would be what you're targeting probably right here. I suggest you don't trade the morning. I promise you're going to regret it shortly after. You might get lucky and get some money, but you're not playing probabilities. You're just playing a Russian roulette and kind of flipping a coin and playing. I suggest you sit out. You're not going to miss anything. Market's still going to be there the day after. Okay, so this is the big levels, right? And then you see, of course, you have 2023 VPOC is sitting here. Not saying it's out of picture, but we first need to figure out if they're happy trading in the 2024 value area. And then you see this imbalance that we had here. There's not a lot of volume here. So if I was to grab these 2 years, you'll see that there's not a lot of volume in this area, 4,700. So this area is going to be pretty massive for them to hold. And if you look, that was our, 2022 after COVID, that was our, high that we put in. So if they're not able to hold this, guys, I mean, there's a strong chance you're going to be going towards 35 and eventually somewhere in the middle here, about 3,000. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just telling you high level scenarios and levels that could play out. I think there's going to be some, after the CPI, there's going to be a lot of burning, meaning that they're going to deliver the pain to the side that's late. And right now, who do you think could be late here?
Late bears.
Be most likely late sellers, right? The people that sold up top, right? People that were selling, let's say a value area high or crack here at 5,900, they're going to be looking to probably close at some point, right? And then a lot of people that are late are going to be getting in, if that makes sense. So you might be short at a really bad location, and you probably don't want to do that tomorrow morning, considering the CPI. All right, well, let's take a look at the daily just to make sure. We'll look at it 2 ways. So in terms of volume profile, when you guys look at this, I'm just going to change this a little bit. Okay, so when you guys look at this, right, so you have, I would say, almost like a double distribution. Trend day down, they closed inside. They tried to get back in today multiple times. During the day, I mentioned that 35-40 zone. Do you guys remember what that is? There's 2 things there. Just want to see if you guys can point out why I mentioned that level. So one of them is basically here. I think it's like right here. And this was the halfback of the day prior, right? Which would mean there's 50%. And if you guys hide this and you look, there's your midpoint, right? So it's like right here. So this is your halfback. And then here, if you guys look, there was there any interest in trading here at all at one point? Because this is the M period. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
A teeny tiny spike.
So let's see. I can't split this one. Let me see if it. So here's the M period. If you guys look, M period was the cause of the spike. So if you guys look at this, this is for me still, I would treat this almost as a split of a single print area, right? And that's kind of what I was telling you guys today when I said this is not a bad short. Do you guys understand why it wasn't a bad short here? And that's kind of what they did. They came right to it today. And they rejected that area really nice. And I mean, it gave you quite a bit of points, guys. even if you took one MES, you would have done well here, or some SPX puts or SPY, whatever you trade. Does everybody understand why that was good?
Yeah, but I struggle with that, Shorty. So you're saying that's a spike end there. That's a good place to go short, but my psychology is saying it's going up. It's going up. What's wrong with me?
There was no spike here, right? There was no spike here. There was no spike here. So here we consolidated higher, then we auction lower, and then period just kind of retraced back. That was the the pump at the end of the day. So they basically erased that, and then you see where they opened the next day. So if you go here, let me just collapse it. Does everybody understand that that was not a spike?
Yes.
So that was definitely not a spike, right? So, and you see where we opened way below that M period, right? So that's telling you that M, shift higher was not that great. And then they're able to kind of auction lower. And then I also gave you guys some warnings not to be short at a certain point today, which was around, I think it was, I can't recall if it was here or here, somewhere around here. I mentioned I would not be short here. They can't run this. And of course they did. They did a really, really good job running. But then what about the close? Is this close bullish or bearish?
They closed near where they opened.
Closed below open, didn't it?
Let me give you this, and then you guys tell me what do you guys think.
I think it's bearish because value area is going down, closing below POC.
How's the trend? Is
It
the trend
shifted to
strong
excess.
or is it slowing down?
Slowing down
Why do you say
because value area overlaps each other.
That's
And
correct.
a D shape.
There's a little bit of overlap in terms of value, right? So we had an overlap here, then you had this open at the bottom. They sliced it down, and today, they auction lower to that big shelf. For me, if I recall, even on one tick, I think there was there's a little bit of excess, minuscule, right? So right at the borderline, you would have a little bit, but that won't carry much weight in terms of buying. I don't think that's very strong here, period, because there's a lot of periods right next to it. So it's not a real access low where we can say, oh yeah, this is the end. But they are overlapping a little bit. If they did close in this quadrant here, if they would have closed inside of this, that would have been really, really good for bulls to cause a short cover rally, right? Because that would mean they're kind of bullish neutral close. But right now, closing right right below the halfback, right above the POC, is not the most bullish thing they could have done, right? And in terms of auction today, in terms of IB, was there anything that they told you for sure who's in control? Let me see if I can.
Oh, they went to both extremes.
So who was on control today in the auction? Tell me.
I'd say the bears.
Bears.
Short-term traders.
Yeah, I want to say short term, but it's also like 100 points, but it's two-sided activity.
It's definitely two-sided activity driven by short-term traders, guys. There's no other time frame participants here. And how do you know?
No extension on either side.
Well,
Just
you
kind of
don't have
in a balance.
extensions. You went below the IB, right? They tried to extend it. They failed. They retraced it. They went above. They failed. And on that PowerPoint slide that I shared with you guys, the day types, there's one that's all the way on the far right that says neutral day, right? Where you test the both extremes of the IB and you fail to build value. That's telling you we're trying to go lower, but we can't. We're trying to go higher, but we can't. That tells you two-sided activity and short-term traders are in control. And why would that be a day before CPI, right? I told you today might be the day where it's consolidating, and that's exactly what happened. They tested the opposite extreme, and they're literally closed at the most neutral point you can close. They're at the VWAP, right? So I wouldn't take too much, of this, and I would treat this the same way. We're still framing down, right? So here's your higher high, lower high, right? And then of course you have a lower low. So what they want to do tomorrow, if they're bulls, what is the level that they want to crack and fly?
That halfback.
That would be true. Halfback and almost PDH, right? So if they're able to crack that, that means the framing down stops. And then when you look at this profile right here, I would pay attention to this tiny little bit of a split here. Right, it's 2 TPOs, probably a little bit less clear now. Let me see if I can make it. Hopefully you guys can see it. So there's a nice little, you have a distribution here and you have a distribution here, more prominent on the bottom than it is on top. It's elongated on the top, which tells you a concentration of value is strictly here. We went below it and look what they did, right? So if you think about this day here, the day prior, what did they do here? Does anyone follow this the day prior? Did L put in a lower low?
Yeah.
But it failed to do something.
Yeah, they didn't let it spike.
They didn't let it spike. So you want to pay attention to this level here tomorrow. This is a fairly important level for them. If they lose this, I would say most likely we're going to go to 55, 61. I'm pretty dyslexic now because of the 6,000 level for some reason in my head. So they lose this, high chance you're going here. And if they lose this, guys, I would say this looks to me as a pretty good poor low in terms of price, right? So if I switch this to candles, you can't tell me that this is a finished auction, right? So this to me looks like a fairly poor low. So if they crack this, I wouldn't be shocked if we visit this. So lose this, go here, and then you want to pay attention because this is a big area, guys. This volume, the anchored VWAP is a big deal. If they lose that, then we're opening, we're open to 554.40, and then ultimately this 5400, 53 would be the level. I would look to close a lot of shorts in this area here. You guys have shorts on your portfolio, it's probably not a bad spot to trim some. Is that fair? Everybody understand?
Also, that's where 6 September low stands.
Say it again.
In terms of SPX, that's where September 6 and several other lows are there. It's a very big level.
I mean, and here, if you grab this, I'm just gonna hide this for a second. Too much yellow on my screen. So if you grab this low and to this high, look where we are right here. I want to think about, if you want to add any shorts in this area, you're playing with fire. This is not a spot for you to add long-term shorts. A retracement, if they give you a retracement, let's say they push it back to 56, 57, yeah, that'd be a good idea. That'd be a good short here. But right here, you don't have the best odds. I mean, you can catch, 150 points, but can also cause sporadic bounce. But this is the next level I would watch. If you're going to play a day to day, these green zones are the ones I'm targeting.
That one is the new 4200.
Pretty much, yeah. If you remember that one, yeah. And they're not giving you much overnight. Just FYI, don't trade tonight.
Are we switching contracts tomorrow, or when is that? What's the volume on that?
Let me check here. I'm checking right now. So here. So it's not there yet. It's just not there yet. Not there yet. Probably next week. When does the contract expire? Is it?
I'm not sure.
It's the third Friday, so that would be
17th.
17th.
Is what I see for the symbol on
Third Friday is the 21st.
Third Friday is 21st. So we're gonna switch over on Tuesday, the 18th. That's when we're gonna roll over. Yeah. All right. Well, I plan on trading live tomorrow, but I'm not gonna trade the morning. I'm gonna let them figure it out. Today, somebody asked, what are these clouds? So I'm just gonna quickly touch base on these. And we have a class that we've done recently on it. So you have the indicator here, which has multiple clouds. You can select 4. So cloud 1 resolution, I'm setting for 4 hours. This is basically your Keltner channels, and they're multi-time frame, meaning whatever you pick here, that's what's gonna show here. And you see like 240, that's your 4 hours. The next one I have is 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 5 minutes, right? So you can definitely change this if you want it to be a weekly cloud. And we can put it right here, and let's see, how does it, and here's your weekly bottom, which is there. When the cloud is shaded like it is this one here, and I'm just gonna remove that weekly because it throws off the, let's do 15 minutes here. So when this color is shaded here, as you guys see on the bottom, does everybody know what that means?
Clouds closed.
The cloud is closed, and most likely when you pay attention to the top right here, I can't here. If this is fairly positive as it is right now, you guys see 2.5. If it's over 1 positive, that means the cloud is pretty closed. So if you guys look at it, my first cloud was 60, and then 30 minutes, and then 15, and you see we defended here. The 15-minute cloud probably closed, and that's exactly where they got bounced here shortly after, right? So now you're watching to see what happens, right? But I would not pay attention too much to it. OVN overnight here.
And if they were on the top, it'd need to be -1.
Oh yeah, you want to be them. Yeah, you want to see the minus. You want to see them closing at the top. Correct. But that's how, and then we can go into more detail on how to use them, but these are multi time frame clouds. So if I go on 15 minutes, it really doesn't change the clouds. Clouds stay the same. It's irrelevant of your candles. The clouds are set up here in these time frames. And you see here, the third cloud 1 hour was one of the strongest ones, and that's the 30 minutes defended pretty nicely here.
So if those numbers are like a negative number, it would be the top clouds?
That's correct. Yeah, the positive clouds are here showing the bottom is open, and it's green. MACD is green on these clouds, meaning the bottom is closed now. And if you're at the top and the cloud is closed and it's negative, it needs to become positive for it to open. And for scalping, if I was using these to scalp, I would honestly just use this guy right here. And this one's pretty insane on if you want to scalp for the 5-minute cloud. It's probably one of the craziest clouds you'll have. And you'll see here perfectly top, bottom, and now most likely they're going to grind all the way to the top if that gives them the ability with this news coming up. But this cloud is pretty dangerous when you're trading intraday and scalping 5 minutes.
Define dangerous.
It doesn't miss, especially if you're on Ashi candles. It really rarely misses on the clouds and the bottoms. You can always catch a bounce of at least 5 points on these.
Nice. And
you can pair this, I typically pair this with 30 minutes, and then you'll see, how it works. So here's your 30-minute, 30 bottom, and you'll see how that kind of plays out as well. So here's that bounce, but this is pretty good combo here, 5, 30, and then sometimes 15 in between. And those are your lower level clouds, meaning when these clouds are cracked, if you're able to crack the extreme of the 30, if you're able to crack this, most likely you have a trend day down, or if you crack the top, you're gonna have a trend day up. All right, tomorrow midday, I'm gonna do a stock scan just because I'm pretty sure we can find some decent value that's been selling off. I do have a lot of cash on the sidelines. I started an initial position in Tesla as I suggested that I will. I did get some entries at 220, I believe in a quarter, and then I got another one here. I did 2 market orders, 1 limit. So I have 1,500 shares or so on Tesla, so it's a pretty good day for me in terms of Tesla. But I'm looking to see if they can reclaim this and kind of push it towards 250. I'd probably cut it there, or at least sell some calls on it.
Shorty, I see the max pen change to 525 on SPY from 545 today for March 31st, and next week we have like FOMC's schedule, OPEC expiries there. This week PPI followed by quadruple vision. So you see any pain on lower side?
Let me see. Let me see. SPY. SPY is probably good here on quarterlies now. Is anyone still in the March 21st 580 puts? You guys were thinking I'm crazy when I got him. Yeah, we're going to 540 on SPY. So if they can't reclaim this zone, let's say tomorrow, if this zone is not reclaimed, we're going to 540. And it's going to happen probably tomorrow or day after. And for them to reach the levels that you're talking about, 531 will be a painful level to crack. So this is a zone where in between right here, you want to be careful adding to your shorts. What they might do, especially since you're saying the pain is 525, they could do something like this. That would be the most probable. And look at this stack here at 517. You have a value area high matched perfectly with a POC. That's a virgin POC. This looks like a probable scenario here. So I see them at least going to 540, this area right here. And more exactly, it should hit right here. 540, 50, 540. Why is this line not showing me? Which one is it? 30. So it should hit that level there, probably within a day or two. I'd watch for a bounce here in this area.
So 540 a week out contracts or this week's expiration?
I would maybe 2 weeks out because the volatility is just high. When VIX is, this high, what do you think you should do here when VIX is this high?
Buy time.
You buy time, but you also buy equities. This is a good spot to, buy some stuff. Let me see. Man, this is pretty bad here. Stocks above 200-day moving average. Only 38% are right now above that.
Shorty, what's that you typed in there? What are you typing in there?
Well, this is just moving average. This just gives you stocks above the moving average.
Wow.
There's one for tech. I forgot the name of it. Let's see. There goes this one, but I want the NDFI. I'm looking for this one. So you guys can see here, anytime we approach this level before, what do you guys see that happened?
I think it's a support, small bounce.
Yeah, it'll support a bounce every time we come to this level. So this is definitely, when I look at the sell-off, you're due for a retracement, right? And this is pointing to potentially a decent level. And when you guys think about this, when you zoom out a little bit, 2020 March, this number was at 6. So that's pretty extreme, right? So not saying that they have to bounce here, but if, let's say CPI is super hot, I wouldn't be shocked if this slices. But as of right now, NDT, I can't remember the names to save my life. And here's your 50, and you see only 27% of the stocks are above the 50-day average. And if I was to go here, this still has room to go. It's still another 10 points down. Yeah, so that would be the level to watch right here as it arrives here. That might be the potentially buying point right here. So I plan on doing a stock scan just to see if there's anything that if you want to
Shorty, I can't hear you. I think you lost your mic.
I think his battery is out.
Yeah, I don't hear him anymore.
Hey, sorry guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yep. So I'll do a stock scan tomorrow midday, just to see how are we doing, if there's any potential finds that we can add to the portfolio long term. So I'll be scanning to see if there's anything really valuable that I can add, because I do have some cash on the sidelines right now. Oh man, Sonny, you're lucky we closed the Verizon.
Yeah, it's weird going on with Verizon. It went all the time high yesterday, and today it's crashed because of the customer.
I
And
told you guys this level. Remember when we talked about Sonny talked about us, I would sell it here, this little line, and that's where they sold off from. That's a big gap for Verizon. I mean, the way it moves is a big gap for it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's going lower. So this is going 39. I'll buy back 37 if it goes back down, but I just didn't want to give them these gains back from 31. Oh man, XLF is about, man. Guys, XLF is about to collapse. That means,
Yes, feels like that.
Sith, are you still in these puts? BAC?
Yeah, I'm still on the puts from top.
Yeah, I think Sith also had some here.
Bank of America.
Yeah. We talked about the bank sector at one point, and I was like, man, Bank of America looked like that based on this right here. And I don't know if you guys can decipher what this means, but this was the best short you could have taken here. The value area super tight right after expansion, failure to hold this value. They cracked inside, and then they tried to build above, and they lost it. And they're gonna go all the way 33, about $29. I would be probably interested, somewhere around here, around $28 would be the level on this one.
It's still good time to add, right?
Say it again.
It's still a good time to buy puts.
If there's any retracements, yeah, I would still buy it, but you have to buy it for like 6 months out. XLC looks super ready to dump. Oh my god, this is a good setup, guys. So this is going $10 down as well. Is there any sectors that are like beat down? Is there anything that's like,
Not really. I mean, it's like we haven't had a red week in so long. I can't even remember it, honestly.
I just don't know if there's anything that's like red overall. Let me see, I'm looking. Okay, health took a beating today. Will be interesting because I'm thinking, just looking at this also, a 10-year, this is ready to also bounce, guys. 10 years ready to bounce, and then you have futures on the dollar. They lost the key level, so most likely the dollar is going to go down. If this happens, most likely see a pump, and then you have oil, right? That's struggling here, and they're not able to get out of this box, right? We need them to crack this and then go higher, and they're not able to do that just yet. So there's a lot of signs pointing towards a bounce, especially with VIX being as high as this is. There's a lot pointing right now that we're gonna potentially have a little bounce here.
Yeah, also VVIX. If you check VVIX, that definitely indicated that today.
Yeah, so I mean, on this sell-off, you're still going lower, and then you close with this candle. Yeah, this is probably a good sign also to relax a little bit on the puts. There's gonna be some people crying with the puts, guys. Here, it's not the best spot to add them.
Yeah, that's why I'm holding on to my long, from the bottom. Somehow I got the bottom and I will hold on to this till tomorrow CPI.
Man, TLT also looks promising for a down here for a dump. So if it loses 89, it's going to 86. That'd be a good add, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff's pointing more towards a bounce, but let's see how the hot print, or how the print, not hot print, how's the print tomorrow? Hopefully it's not hot. See if we can get some relief bounce and catch some stuff. Honestly,
Was that a
SPX,
Freudian slip, Shorty?
yeah. SPX has been playing really, really nice, guys. If you've been trading 0DTE, like I've taken a couple of trades from like 200% to 500%. Took some today as well. I think it was like 320% that I grabbed some SPX calls.
Sorry, I got it today. Like SPX, leave it for 1100%. Like that 551, 90, 552 SPY went touch. It was a 61.8 retracement on monthly. So
Oh man,
I was eyeing on that, and as soon as it touched, I bought it, and I sold when SPY touched 62, 63. It was 1100% within like 40 minutes.
let's fixate. And 1100%, guys, is a lot of money. At least it is to me. Maybe you guys are used to that, but I'm not. And 1100% on a single trade is bananas. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. But this was the run today. This was pretty solid, guys. Almost $12 bounce. On SPY. That's unheard of, if you ask me. Intraday $12 bounce is pretty insane. But I'm pretty sure 565 calls were less than 10 cents at this point here. And we can check, but I'm certain they were cheaper than 10 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy a 10 pack here, probably close to 1,000% return. Excuse me. All right, guys. Well, I'll be on live. I'll hop in, just see how the market does to the news, and then we'll see what craziness brings, right? But try not to trade tomorrow morning. It might punish you a little bit. It's better to watch than lose money. So at least that's how I do it.
Thank you, Shorty.
All righty, guys.
Thank you,
Have a good day.
Shorty.
Bye-bye.